What up, YouTube? Wanted to give you an update on the Valiant. I tried making this video yesterday on my way to a car show, but ran into some filming issues. So I have to run a quick errand, but at the end of the video, I'm gonna take you to a special spot that resonates deeply in my heart, my Mopar heart. I gotta pump the gas. Starts right up, I love it. So I sanded down some curb rash with different levels of grit, sandpaper. You know, it's not perfect, but it looks much smoother. Wish I had a more detailed video of the white letters. They came out good. You know, I had them for 2.5 months, but I cleaned them off a few days ago. It was pretty fragile. The paint was cracking. It gave it a cool ratty look, but the letters would rub off in the front passenger tire. You know, when I turned the wheel, parked next to a curb, it'd rub off on a curb. Had some junk in my trunk, so it's slightly rubbing the back passenger side. Completely took the letters off. I had to repaint it a couple times. I prefer white letters on top and bottom, but it just doesn't seem right coloring in Ling Long on your 60s American car. So my day and night mirror fell out and didn't want to stay in. Now I'm using one of these suction cup ones. It's been holding up pretty good. I was driving into the turning lane and someone cut me off without using their blinkers. I would have rear-ended him, but I swerved into a ditch, a little trench type thing. Yeah, that bent up my rear passenger wheel. Thankfully, I found another one in good condition for cheap. Bottoming out in that ditch seemed to have, you know, raised my exhaust up so it's not hanging low as it was before. So I guess that was good. All right, I had to stop filming for a while because my phone was overheating. And my car started hesitating, sputtering, backfiring. Automatically thought it had to be the fuel pump because these were the same symptoms that were displayed last time I broke a pump. So I went to the gas station later to fill up, and I noticed on my new gas cap it says non-vented. So I thought maybe that's why my car is acting up. But no, my car actually does require a non-vented gas cap, so that wasn't a problem. I replaced the fuel pump. It was still acting up, still sputtering. So I checked the spark plugs. They're pretty black, kind of sooty looking. And that could be the result of bad ignition coil or a fuel issue. So I replaced the plugs and the ignition coil. It was running solid. I drove it a lot for about a week, and then the sputtering and backfiring came back. I told a friend what was going on. He checked with his mechanic friend, who told me without a doubt it's a carburetor accelerator pump. I replaced it. It was running perfectly for 2 days, and then I later developed an occasional slight hesitation that would happen for another 3 days, and then the constant sputtering issue came back. Having no clue what it could be, I took my car to a carburetor shop for a diagnosis. We took it on the test run when I got there. I'm at Walmart right now. So I'm at Walmart picking up a package that a friend sent me. He sent me a package earlier, but it got stolen from my front door, so he got it sent to Walmart, and I'm gonna pick it up here. So yeah, that's my errand. But I'm gonna still take you to that special spot at the end of the video. Anyway, I'm at the carburetor shop for a diagnosis. We take it on the test run. He recommended that we put a carb spacer, a fuel line kit. We ended up putting a little fuel pressure gauge on there. Had to custom bend some fuel lines to the carburetor to make it work. He also relocated the throttle spring to a better location, and it got that cool billet look. So with that 1-inch spacer, I had to get a shorter air cleaner for hood clearance. So he did his diagnosis. The ignition system was good. The timing was good. The new pressure gauge showed that my fuel pump was working at 9 PSI. He said it looked to be a bad accelerator pump. I told him I just changed it out. So he recommended that I check the accelerator pump spring and little ball inside the carburetor. So I was off on my way home, you know, driving, getting the feel of the throttle spring, you know, to see if the throttle response is any quicker or whatever, seeing if I felt any more power from that 1-inch carb spacer. So at the light, right before coming home, my car shut off. I caused a little traffic trying to push it back home. A few people helped me push it around the corner, and I pushed it the rest of the way home. Gave it about an hour. It started up, but didn't want to stay on. So I spent all day thinking, what could be the issue? The next day, I realized the fuel pressure gauge was reading 9 PSI, which is too much for the Edelbrock electric fuel pump that I was running. It's supposed to do around 4 to 7 PSI on carbureted applications. So I learned some people with this fuel pump issue fix it with a fuel pressure regulator. As you can see, we get in 9 PSI, over 9 PSI, which is too much for a carburetor. I don't know what sound that is, but It might be the sound of my carburetor flooding. Since I'm running too much pressure, fuel pressure, I'm gonna just cut it off. Oh, what is that? I am now seeing that it's actually leaking from the carburetor. So what the heck? This fuel pressure regulator, I wanted to cut off some of this fuel line right here so I could fit this here. You could adjust the PSI with this, and I should be able to fine tune it to 4 PSI, which is where it needs to be. The whole process of getting my car fixed dragged out because I got the part stolen from my front door. Thankfully, the parts store had one nearby, so I was able to pick one up. So I also had to get a fuel hose clamp, trim the fuel line. It was seeping a little gas from the regulator's threading. So I got a little thread sealant and it's holding up nicely. What I like about this regulator is you twist it to adjust the pressure. So I set it around 4 PSI, which I hear is where Edelbrock's light being ran at. It was running solid for the whole rest of the day, and then I broke it the next day. All right, so my car cut off right in the middle of the street. A couple good Samaritans helped me push it over to this parking lot. Gasoline was actually boiling inside the carburetor. That means the fuel line is probably touching something hot. I need to get like an insulator so that it's not making direct contact, or maybe like somehow zip tie or position this so it's not touching the header.
The movie Duel with Dennis Weaver from 1971, it's not as bulletproof. Well, there were no guns involved, but he had to take on a big rig.
70s Valiant, I think.
Yeah, that was like a 1970 Valiant that he was driving.
Yeah.
It was a lot like this, but not entirely the same.
Yeah, this is late 60s, but yeah. Not too many big changes, just mostly the body.
Right. Nice.
Appreciate it. All right, so I got out of the parking lot, broke down right in front of the pad. It's the best place to break down at home, man. I don't know how I got here. I just stay on the gas, even like at red lights. I just keep it in neutral and keep my foot slightly on the gas just so it stay on. And I was able to make it home, and it cut off right before I got to my spot. All right, just put in a heat wrap or heat shield along the fuel lines. So I got it on that part. And I couldn't really reach it here. Not too much space to fit my hands between the header and fender. So I had to go from under. I'm gonna cut all the zip ties. Yeah. All right, so I got this heat wrap on the fuel lines. The car still didn't really want to stay on with that. I got a phenolic 1-inch carb spacer. You know, I got an electric fuel pump. These are things that should help my car not vapor lock, but hopefully this does it. It's a thermal insulator gasket. It's gonna go between the carburetor and the spacer. Gotta put on my Mopar hat, baby. We getting sideways, baby. It's been a hot summer out here, but my car's been running fine for a couple months, so I think I solved that problem. So my car was sitting for a while waiting on those parts to come in, and I found kittens living in my engine bay. There was more, but a bunch just ran out. Yo. Came back the next day and the same thing. So if you got cats in your neighborhood, check under your car, your engine bay, you know, wherever they could get in, especially when it's cold. You know, and I'm always looking out for the neighborhood cat. When they're sleeping, I cut off the exhaust valve and I open it back up when I'm far enough away. So I did an oil change last week, cleaned out the exhaust cutout valve with my own toothbrush. I got some new coolant I need to replace soon. I'm also looking to replace the tranny fluid and the differential gear oil, or whatever you call it. I'm not too sure how to go about that. Should I do it? I hear some people say not to do it. I don't know. So we're approaching this very special place. Someone is in my very special parking spot. You know, I'm gonna just park in front of it. It's a red zone, but we only gonna be here for a little bit. I see a cop coming, so I'm gonna park in this non-red zone until he blows by. Then I'm gonna park in that red zone so we can get a better angle of my car at that special place. Martinez, California, at the old Duarte and Whitting Mopar dealership. It's no longer the dealership, but they kept the sign up. It's got that nostalgia to it. You know, you got that chip. It's on a brick wall. It's got that old school look. Sold countless of Mopars here, I'm sure, back in the 60s, 70s. All right, so that's it for this video. Gotta end it right with the Mopar hat. I know I said it last video, but next video I'm gonna really try to do a performance test. Thank you. She said nice car. She appreciates oldies. That's her right there. Anyway, that's it.